Warframe is a free-to-play RPG multiplayer game published and developed by Digital Extreme. Warframe's development began in 2000 as part of the larger project called Dark Sector. The initial concept then evolved into a free-to-play sci-fi action which Digital Extremes eventually self-published in 2013. Warframe lore revolves around you, a player, playing a role called Tenno, a race of ancient warriors that have been in space coma for centuries, only to find out they're in the middle of a war with the different factions in the origin systems, and also having the ability to control the Warframes. These Warframes are created using the Helminth parasite, which infects the minds and bodies of humans, turning them into a powerful, armored beings that Tenno pilots. Tenno originally created long before the war during the so-called Void era, when a ship called the Zariman 10-0 became involved in a void jump accident that sent it lost in the chaotic subdimensional space known as the Void. The ship re-emerged and was recovered only days later, and the only survivors found were children, who was exposed to the Void's energy changed them, giving them inexplicable powers and abilities. The Orokin took interest with their powers and took initial experiments on how to harness the children's power, though led to several fatal accidents, which showed the danger of their uncontrolled powers that could wreak both on themselves and on others. Orokin researcher named Margulis discovered that through dreams, the children could focus and control their powers. However, this research would then be taken from her after Margulis was executed for trying to protect the children and used to create a process known as transference, an ability where they can transfer their consciousness and control through the highly advanced biomechanical suits of armor called Warframes. Although Tenno was being honored amongst the Orokin, the Tenno held deep resentment towards the Orokin for practices like slavery, continuity, and eugenics, as well as their use of the Tenno for inhumane purposes like turning their soldiers into monsters. A sentient named Natar took a form of Margulis and manipulated Tenno, turned against the Orokin due to the Orokin's inhumane treatments and practices, killing all of their leadership as part of the plan by the sentients called the Orokin Massacre to weaken the Orokin Empire. The Tenno then disappeared after the Old War for centuries and rediscovered by a woman named Lotus to help the Tenno back on their feet and barely remembers about the Old War, alongside with a Cephalon named Otis, and assists Tenno on multiple missions throughout the Origin system. So that's kind of the backstory of the Warframe and the Tenno itself without giving too much of a spoiler in the stories. In Warframe, there's a nodes/missions within the planet for you to unlock for the next path. The goal for the nodes is for earning mastery rank points, gaining access to resource extractors for passive resource farming, and unlocking the ability to alert invasions and events anywhere on the star chart without needing a taxi. Also for you to be able to unlock the next planet within the path itself. Plus, completing all of the nodes could give you access to a steel path, which is a hard mode for the nodes mission. There's several missions you can play within the nodes itself, and several of them are pretty common missions like extractions, capture missions, defending missions, etc. There's also multiple syndicate factions you can ally within the game while you're exploring, but the main syndicate faction that introduced to you as a new player will be Steel Meridian, Arbiter of Hexis, Cephalon Suda, Red Vial, New Loka, and Conclave, which you can find this main faction in hubs like Cetus and Fortuna, as well as in relays in their respective room. Prime versions such as the Warframes and weapons are the technology during its peak of the Orokin era. It's like a stronger version for the non-prime and will often have an additional polarity slots for the mods. While it is stronger, but this prime versions is not really needed during your early or mid game. It does help for having additional boost stats in the end game, but not a must have since you can customize or experiment it with your mods for the non-prime counterpart. Some of the veterans still using the non-prime Warframes and weapons in their endgame, so don't worry about it if you don't have one yet. Mods are one of the essential things for the Warframe itself and for weapons that they were using. These mods help to enhance the ability of the Warframe and weapons to their fullest potential, making them fighting and slashing their way through the enemies easily. For the newcomers, this mod's customization can be a bit overwhelmed. Plus, some of the mods are difficult to acquire when you really need them. My advice, try to understand your Warframe mechanics and playstyle first. Use the apply mod button in your early gameplay until you have some mods that you wanted to experiment it with. What I like about Warframe is that their DLC is actually free. The major story and main quest is completely free for players to play it and to delve more into the lore of the Tenor and the Old War. You can also earn some free Warframe upon completing the Warframe mission as well. Warframe doesn't really have subscription nor battle pass, but they do have a season stuff to grind for dailies and weeklies in the radio called Nightwave. Most of the stuff are either cosmetic or resources that you can buy with the free to earn currency within the Nightwave shop. For the new players, you guys should just focus on completing the nodes first. Learn more about the frames that you use, the base game, and experiment with some mods that you earn after finish some missions. In between, you can play some of the main quests that is available for you and just have fun. Warframe community is actually pretty chill, and the developers usually do some live stream to just chill with the players and share some of the progression that they make towards the game. Rushing to the end game is usually not really that great of an idea. It's okay to take your time because the game respects that. You can be hiatus for 2 to 3 years and come back to still be able to use any weapons or frames back then to your current progression. So with that being said, the only thing that is important for you to understand more about the game itself, just have fun. Don't think about it too much and keep on slashing the enemies. Leave a comment down below on your personal thoughts about the game itself. Maybe share some of the tips that you know for the new players that is watching this video. Thank you for watching. Stay safe and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Use the apply mod button in your early gameplay until you have the set. Use the apply mod button in your early gameplay. Use the apply mod button in your early gameplay until you have Use the apply mod button in your early gameplay until you have some mods that you wanted to experiment it with. It's difficult to speak in English, mate. Do you think it's easy? Especially if you're Malay, living in Malaysia, who speak Malay 24/7.